All right, Pinhead, your time is up.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Hello YouTube and all who inhabit it, greetings from the Stop Motion Reviewer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the War for Cybertron Siege selects Powerdasher Zetar. Zetar transforms into a Cybertronian drill tank based off his G1 Powerdasher release. He's also a mold of Brunt, who I'm going to review now with him. Starting out with Zetar, he really gives off an almost perfect Diaclone vibe from the late 70s to early 80s, being that stereotypical alien robot that everyone would talk about back then. He's a classic example of how to do remolds or retools the right way. The sculpting is fantastic, but his paint applications are what really drives it home. His head sculpt looks like it shouldn't even be possible for it to be anything but a sticker, but rest assured, this is actual molding. You can also remove the drill from the head if you want to have the hell spawned up from all of your worst nightmares come back to haunt you for the rest of your life. As for Brunt, I guess you could say bruntly speaking, he's awesome. All bullshit puns aside, the vehicle modes aren't really where they shine. These guys can split apart into a death parts pile and pretty much just blow each other off the face of the goddamn earth, and I am loving it. Create as many stupid combinations as you want, but for the sake of the fucking planet, don't remove Zetar's drill or this figure will bring you to the 7th circle of hell. Both of these figures are completely badass, but Zetar is just a bit more work to find for a good price because he's a selects figure, and one of the few that's actually justified in being one. The original Powerdashers were Diaclone leftovers and were only mail-away exclusives, and these little shits could take like 5 to 6 weeks to get to your door when you ordered them, and that's after you bought who knows how many deluxe figures, and collected how many robots points, kept the box, mailed them in, and you had to spend $11 after all that crap, which back then was actually quite a bit of money. I've always kind of wanted to get the G1 Powerdashers, but they're surprisingly expensive on eBay because apparently they're pretty difficult to find and there's a lot more of a collector base than I thought. Oh well, guess I don't need kidneys. On to transformation. The transformation is literally just ripping them apart and putting them back together in a way that's slightly different. I think you kind of knew that given the fact they're weaponizers, but these guys nail it. Both of them are spot on in terms of being generic nobody characters, and I could not be any more for it. Zetar is definitely my favorite because he looks like Mr. Krabs went to town on a friggin' power drill, and this is the hellspawn that came out of it. And I said it once, I'm gonna say it again. I am a gigantic Diaclone dork. And this guy tears at my heartstrings more than the imminent depression of being obligated to buy an $80 3-pack of characters I already have so I can get the final Powerdasher, and fuck! I needed these guys in my life more than I've ever known, and altogether, I give them a very solid 9.5 out of 10. The legs of them fall off too a little bit too easily, but a little bit of Lemon Pledge can fix that. On a side note, I actually discovered there's another way of fixing ball joints on figures that nobody's actually ever figured out. If you find a bucket of something called water-based polyacrylic, you can apply a tiny amount of that to a ball joint and it dries on clear. It's permanent and it doesn't fuse the joints together like superglue would. It's mostly used as a preservative for furniture, but you can probably find some laying around the house somewhere. Anyways, this has been the Stop Motion Reviewer, and God help us all!